Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So if you're anything like me, you love spellcasting in D&D. In particular, fun RP and utility spells are my favorite. They're incredibly flexible in how you can use them, and in many cases, if you've got the right imagination for it, you can use it in ways not many people would expect. For example, one of my favorite spells to do this with is the spell Magic Mouth. So on the surface, this is a spell that can be used to simply record and spit out messages. But thanks to the explanation we get within the spell, stating that we can get to choose any kind of audible or visual trigger within 30 feet of the object, that gives us tons of versatility with this spell. First of all, this spell is great for flavor, both as a DM and as a player. Want to make your dungeon and even other things you find inside of said dungeon more interesting? Use Magic Mouth. Everything is just talking. As the players enter the dungeon, a carving above the archway reads a riddle that will help the players or beckons them away with a grim warning. You can even use it on your armor. Of course, you have to take the armor off first and then cast it and then put it back on. You can make your armor sing a battle hymn, laugh at your enemies, or even taunt them too. You can use this premise and even magic mouth things like the Artificer Battlesmith's construct, melding and grafting on these new armor pieces well after they've been enchanted by the Magic Mouth spell. And yes, that's the premise of the picture. It's an armor/animated armor that has been enchanted a number of times by the Magic Mouth spell. And I hope you're enjoying the picture so far. I had a great time working on it. But anyways, back to the video. You can also use this spell for communication networks. Let's say you have to hide information from other creatures, as well as secret confidants or allies within games, political intrigue, and subterfuge. You can set the triggering condition as something like, when this specific allied creature approaches and says this word or phrase, the spell activates and says whatever message you would have for that person. You could have secret messages thrown all throughout your setting in things like bricks and city walls, statues, even trees and stones out in the wilderness could work too. And besides flavoring, one of the greatest ways I've used this spell has been for anti-theft and security. For example, anti-theft, I had a wizard that used this Magic Mouth spell to enchant his coin pouch. If someone other than him touched the bag, it would start yelling, "Thief!" incredibly loudly. And if the security case, you can easily use it to ward against intruders. Imagine a group of bandits approach a door and try to unlock it in the dead of night. You can set a condition with Magic Mouth that says that anyone that attempts to pick a lock within 30 feet of the object sets off the spell, and then you hear that object yell, "Intruder, intruder." And Magic Mouth is even more fun when you realize that the Magic Mouth spells can talk to one another. As long as one Magic Mouth is within 30 feet of another Magic Mouth, one triggering effect can set off another Magic Mouth. And when this Magic Mouth would serve as the trigger for the second Magic Mouth. For clarification, you could say if the word blank is spoken to this Magic Mouth, this first one goes off and then says a word. And then if a nearby Magic Mouth hears that word, it will then go off and say its own message. And there are people that have taken this concept to the extremes and have basically made computers and databases using this exact feature. Since computers and programming is all basically just a stream of inputs and outputs, that's basically what we have here. We, the mage, can set the inputs for our Magic Mouth spells, and then the Magic Mouths carry out the output. We can use them to make databases, computation devices, and even search engines, potentially, all with this one spell. And there are even a number of ways, too, that we can make this spell even more powerful. For example, one big thing that we're severely limited by, and is actually kind of a nerf to the spell, is the material component to cast it with. 10 gold worth of jade dust is pretty hefty, and for all the shenanigans I've been talking about, that will start to build up eventually. And there are a few different ways that I've figured out that you can get around this with. First and foremost, Creation Bard. Oh my goodness, Creation Bards are amazing, and I've gone over a number of them on the channel already. And what really makes them cool is the fact that they have this ability called Performance of Creation. And what it does is allow said bard to create an item that has a gold cost equal to or less than their bard level times 20. And the best part is, these items can be consumed by other spells and abilities. So using this, we can make our jade dust for basically free, instead of having to find a supplier and spend lots of money to get it ourselves. Another way that we can get tons of jade dust is going pretty deep into Wizard, Illusionist or Transmutation Wizard specifically. The reason for Illusionist is for our ability, Illusory Reality, which allows us to take any illusion we make and make it real for 1 minute. And this ability is very similar to Creation Bards. However, the objects we create don't exist for that long. But we do have just enough time to use the dust to do a regular casting of Magic Mouth. And the final way is through Transmutation Wizard's Capstone in a somewhat similar way. Using our Transmuter Stone, we can target an object that fits in a 5x5 square and then change the material's composition into anything we want. And this includes jade dust as well. The only caveat here is that they have to be similar sizes, mass, and price value. So if you can find something economically similar to jade dust as a substitute, you can transmute it to become jade dust. But beyond just making this spell cheaper, there's also a number of things we can do to really boost up this spell's potency. First, since everything is done and recorded through voice, one of the best things we can do is find ways to alter our voice to be able to inscribe and enchant the message within things. And one of the best ways we can do that is to play a Kenku or a Changeling. Kenku have the ability to mimic any sound they hear, which means that we can effectively use our magic mouth to make any sound that we want when we play a Kenku. And speaking of a powerful magic mouth combo, I would like to go back to Illusionist Wizard for just a second. And yes, the ability of sidestepping the gold cost can come in handy, but one of the other important parts about Illusionist Wizard is their ability to shape and alter any illusion that they make, or made. Let me explain. At level 6, Illusionists gain the feature Malleable Illusions, and what it does is allow us to alter the nature of one of our illusions provided that we can see it, and that it is still within the normal parameters of the illusion. And also, its duration needs to be longer than 1 minute. Magic Mouth perfectly falls into all of these criteria, and as such, we can bend it. After we cast Magic Mouth on an item, using Malleable Illusions, we can then spend an action to change whatever the spell says, as well as change the triggering conditions that activate the spell. So with all this information, I hope that you understand why I love this spell so much, and I also hope it's given you some really fun ways to use it and potentially break the spell as well. This spell is an all-time favorite of mine, and I hope after this video, it's become a bit more of a favorite for you too. Anyways, that's all the time I have for this video, and if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for even more D&D content. And in the meantime, keep smiling, keep scheming, and I'll see all of you next time.